Sometimes things get worse before they get better, even on a carnivore diet. Hi, I'm Sue, and today I'm talking about the things that went wrong for me on the carnivore diet. I'm talking health issues that got way worse, and even some new health issues that began after I started on a carnivore diet that weren't problems beforehand. These are things that confused me initially because carnivore heals everything, right? So sometimes things do actually get worse before they get better. Or sometimes when it looks like things are going wrong, they're actually going right. What spurred me to make this video was a post that I saw recently in one of the carnivore groups. It was a lady who, a few months into her carnivore journey, has developed what looks like quite bad psoriasis on her scalp and her face. She put up some pictures of her hairline and it is pretty noticeable. And she said that she gets a buildup of skin around her nose and on her eyebrows and has to actually literally scrape it off each day before she goes to work because it's really embarrassing. Her doctor has offered her an injection or steroids, and she was wanting some advice, experience and thoughts from members of the carnivore group. Well, in my personal view, the medical intervention would be the wrong move, and I'm about to tell you why. But first, I have to say here, of course, that I'm not a doctor, and this is not medical advice. I am my own doctor, and I look after my own health. I'm sharing my experience and my thoughts so that you can mull over what I'm saying and take it with a grain of salt if you want, but do your own research and then decide what's best for you. Now, when I started on the carnivore diet 3 years ago, I was optimistic. You have to be to try this way of eating, don't you think? And fortunately, some of my health issues improved quite quickly, but some things got worse, much worse. First, my weight went up about 8 or 10 kilos. I had just dropped 6 kilos in 2 months on the keto diet, and now here I was, regaining that weight and more. But I'd done my research. I'd listened to others who said that they also had gained initially. And so I had faith and I let it go. And I just ate because I was so friggin' hungry. My body had been starving for years, and so I just gave it what it obviously needed. That extra weight eventually came off, and although my weight loss has been very slow, I'm gradually getting there. Another thing that went wrong was that my chronic diarrhea got way worse and much less manageable. This was probably the most difficult thing to handle. It was definitely the most stressful. But even though I had people telling me to take the little pills from the doctor that stopped the diarrhea, I refused to take anything that would suppress what my body was trying to do. My body was pooping out what I was eating because, for whatever reason, it needed to get rid of it. I have a firm belief that my body knows what it's doing, and everything is for a reason. In my case, a lot of what I was pooping out initially was oxalate that my body needed to dump. If I'd suppressed that, then all that oxalate would still be in my tissues, or it might have sat in my bowel and caused bowel cancer or other health problems down the line. Instead, I supported my body by using things like activated charcoal because I knew it would help to remove whatever my body needed to get rid of. And it also had the added benefit of slowing my bowel down and kind of helping to manage the diarrhea somewhat. And I used various other herbs and supplements off and on to gradually support my body and improve my digestion. Now, almost 3 years into my carnivore journey, the chronic diarrhea is essentially a thing of the past, unless I'm oxalate dumping, which is much less often these days. And I know that my digestive system is in a much better state than it's been for a very long time. Then, like the lady I mentioned earlier, there was my scalp issue. I have videos on that. About 6 months into my carnivore journey, I developed what looked like psoriasis on my scalp. And this was crazy. My whole scalp became really lumpy and flaky, and I had so much dandruff and so much skin coming off my scalp for months and months and months. This took a very long time. That it would just be everywhere. It would be all over my desk, all over my chairs, in the car seats, in the car, in the bed, and we would have to be constantly sweeping up all of this dandruff that was everywhere. And it was incredibly embarrassing because it was itchy, and I'd be trying not to scratch, and I wear dark black cardigans and things when I'm working, and so I would have dandruff all over my shoulders. In a lot of my older videos, you can see it because I might brush it off. And then I'd forget, I'd be sitting there talking and I'd be scratching and there would be just skin falling everywhere. It was really, really crazy, but I refused to suppress it. I let it happen. I just managed it as best as I could with as natural, gentle, easy shampoos and things as I could. I found that actually using a tallow soap, even though it would build up on my hair and I'd have to use shampoo eventually, homemade tallow soap worked really well because it didn't dry my scalp as much. And so it was less itchy and less kind of flaky, I guess. But gradually, that has got better. And now it is only a little patch across the back of my skull, right on the occiput, and a little bit over my ears. And it kind of comes and goes, and it's not too bad. And there's almost no flaking at all most of the time. So as I said, now my scalp is almost healed. I still get a little bit of lumpiness on the base of my skull, but I know that with a little bit more time, it'll be gone. And I actually came across some information just recently that leads me to believe that my scalp issue has been directly tied to my bowel issue. And that is because of a possible lack of butyrate production in my gut. So the fact that my scalp is now so much better, I think, is an indication that my body is making more of its own butyrate, which is no doubt a big part of the reason why the diarrhea is almost gone. You see, in our amazing bodies, everything is connected. The skin on my face has also had its moments. I started to get acne, and I still do, and red patchiness on my face, mostly on the right side. It was so bad for quite a long time that I started wearing foundation every day, which I never do. My skin actually looked a lot worse than it was before carnivore. I didn't have acne or anything prior to carnivore. As I said, mostly on this side, and it would get really spotty and patchy. I still do get some acne now. I mean, I've got some at the moment, but nothing like what it was. It was really quite horrible looking, and I could tell people who knew me and knew what I was doing with my diet, they would look at me and they go, "Are you still eating that meat-based diet?" Because you could kind of tell what was going on in their minds, no weight loss, grotty skin, all this stuff. But I just trusted the process. And now when the acne comes, it's much less, and my skin doesn't get that red patchiness. My skin's actually quite good most of the time. And then the next thing that happened was just a few months ago. I developed what looked like little patches of eczema on my stomach, on my hips, and on my tops of my legs. I was gradually getting more and more of them. It started as a few little patches on my stomach, and then they kind of gradually went down, and now they're gone. This only took about 4 months. Whatever my body was trying to get rid of there, it didn't take long to do. And of course, there was my hubby's breath. When we started eating this way, my husband's breath got really bad. We both used to get bad breath off and on before carnivore. It was just something that happened from time to time, fairly regularly probably, and was generally due to gut issues. But this time, when we first changed our diet, my husband's breath was so bad. Like, I could smell it from a couple of meters away when he was talking to me. And it smelled like there was something dead inside of him. It was embarrassing, and I was embarrassed for him because I was aware that when he was talking to people, they would be smelling it. He basically just wrote it out, forgot about it most of the time, and that lasted about 3 months, and then it was gone. Now he almost never has bad breath. It's very rare. Whatever his body was cleaning up and sorting out was done. So as I said, sometimes when it looks like things are going wrong, they're actually going right. From my personal experiences and with what I've learned over the years from studying natural healing modalities and doing various detox protocols and things myself, often when it looks like we're getting sick or when we have symptoms that are getting worse, or new symptoms even, it can just be a result of our amazing bodies doing what they do naturally to heal, especially if we're purposely doing some protocol or have changed our diet in some way to facilitate healing. And of course, eating a carnivore or meat-centric diet is a great way to heal our bodies. The thing is that your body is a self-healing organism, and that's why when you cut yourself, it grows a scab and heals, right? Imagine if we weren't used to seeing scabs. We might think that something was going wrong. We'd be like, what's this rough patch on my skin where I cut it? Your body will try to eliminate waste and toxins via the channels that it uses for detoxification. These can be the liver, the urinary system via the kidneys and urine, the digestive system via the bowel, the lungs via the breath, which of course can cause bad breath, as in my hubby's case, and the skin, which can cause rashes and pimples and boils and other skin issues. Even in my day-to-day business as a bodywork practitioner, I make use of the ability of my clients' bodies to sort themselves out, to heal and to create balance. I'll explain. The main modality that I use is called contact care fluid lock release. It's a modality that has originated here in New Zealand. And with the techniques that I've learned, I remove pressure in people's bodies that has been caused by surprise impact to bones. After a treatment, it's quite common for people to experience what we call unraveling, which can cause pain and or discomfort for a few hours or even a few days. I always explain to my clients that this is their body doing good work, adjusting and even lengthening muscles and tendons and putting things back in a better, more balanced place that will eventually help to resolve their pain. And most people who have been on any kind of detox or fasting protocol, even water fasting, know that sometimes we can feel like crap as our bodies get to work and start cleaning up. We get headaches and gut and bowel issues and fatigue. They're all really common. This is just the way that our body works. As I've described in my case, I know that all those things that seem to be going wrong were actually going right. My body was doing what it knows how to do and gradually cleaning up and healing what needs to be healed. When we change the conditions in the body and give it what it needs and allow it to do what it does naturally, miracles can and do happen. In my case, my health continues to improve. And because I've been determined not to get in the way of what my body's doing and not to suppress anything, but instead do what I can to support my body in what it's doing, I'm certain that my healing will be more complete and in the long run will happen much quicker than it would have if I was to use medicines to try to suppress the symptoms I've experienced along the way. Taking pharmaceutical drugs, using steroids, or using anything that suppresses symptoms rather than supporting and healing is probably going to make the healing process longer and potentially more difficult. Often when symptoms are suppressed, the problem is pushed back into the body for it to deal with later, and it may eventually cause more serious health challenges. I guess what I'm trying to convey here is that each of us lives in a body that has inherent wisdom and that has the ability to heal itself if we just give it what it needs and then get out of the way. Obviously, there may be times when we need some kind of medical intervention, when there's too much pain or if there's acute danger to our well-being or our life. But most of the time, if we just know that our body has the wisdom to heal itself, and if we just let it do its thing, it will do it perfectly, even though it might feel uncomfortable or embarrassing at the time. And if we allow it to do that, then one day we'll be able to look back and marvel at how far we've come. We'll remember how it seemed like things were going wrong, how crazy or painful or embarrassing it felt when they were actually going right. And I have no doubt that we'll be glad we had the wisdom to get out of the way and let our body heal. So what do you think? Do you let your body get on with healing, or do you manage your symptoms by suppressing them? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video today, make sure to subscribe and share it with anyone who might need this message. Thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you again another day. Goodbye for now.